Today I'm going to show you 21 different ways you can play easy chords for the complete beginner, and if you watch until the end, I'm going to share with you a special surprise link or a special surprise video. So what I want to do is I want to show you first how to play 7 easy basic chords, and I'm going to show you 21 different combinations that you can use to play those chords. So if you're a beginner, we're going to just deal with the white keys today. So C is always going to be the white key to the left of the 2 black keys. This is going to be D, like the alphabet. This is E, then F, then G, and then after G it is A, and then B, and then the next C. And it just repeats itself. So D again, E, F, G. So the piano goes higher in tone going to the right. The piano goes lower in tone going to the left. So when we're dealing with chords, right, chords sound something like this. Now, there are complexities to what makes a chord, but just for the simplicity of this video, I'm going to show you how to play 7 easy chords, and again, I'm going to show you different ways in which you can play them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a C chord. There's different types of C chords, but the one we're going to work with today is going to be the C major triad. There's a reason why it's called a major triad. I'm not going to get into that in the video. Again, this is just to get you in the door. So the C chord here that I'm going to show you, we're going to start with C. And each of these chords I'm going to show you is you would start with a white key, then you skip a white key to play the next white key. And then after the next white key, you skip a key and go to the next white key. And if you play each of these 3 notes at the same time, you come up with a chord. And if you notice with my right hand, I'm using my thumb, my middle finger, and my pinky to play the bottom note, the middle note, and the top note. So that is one chord that you can play. And to practice these chords, it may take a little bit of time to get used to the fingerings, but that is okay. So the first chord that we're dealing with is the C chord, where C is the root of the chord, and we have C, E, and G. The next chord I'm going to show you is the D chord, where we start with D with a thumb. So as you can see, I slid my hand over to the next chord. So you start with D, you skip a key, just like you did before, and you play F, and you skip a key again, and you have A. So all you have to do is play D, F, and A at the same time. And you have a D chord. An E chord could be E at the bottom. Again, we're using our thumb. Then we're going to skip a key and play the middle finger on G. And then we're going to skip another finger and we're going to play pinky on B. We're going to play another chord, which is going to be the F chord. We're going to have our thumb on F. We're going to skip a key, place our middle finger on A. We're going to skip another key and place our middle finger on C. We're going to now play the G chord, which is going to be G at the bottom with our thumb. We're going to skip a note, play our middle finger on B, and then skip another note and play our pinky on D. We're going to go up another key, and we're going to now play an A chord, which is going to be A at the bottom with our thumb, C in the middle with our middle finger. We're going to skip the key and play E with our pinky. And then the final chord that I'm going to show you is the B chord, where B is at the bottom with the thumb. You skip a key and go to D with your middle finger, and you skip another key and go to F with your pinky. And all that happens is if you go up another chord, you just land on the same chord that we played in the beginning, which is the C chord. So the first chord that you learned is the C chord, C, E, and G. The next chord you learned is the D chord, D, F, and A. The next chord you learned is the E chord, E, G, and B. The next chord you learned is F, A, and C, the F chord. The next chord you learned is the G chord, G, B, and D. The next chord you learned, the sixth chord, is the A chord, A, C, and E. And And then the final chord you learned was the B chord, which is B, D, and F. Now again, there are tons of chords and tons of types of chords there are, but these are just 7 easy ones to give you guys an example of what I'm going to show you in this video, again, to get your foot in the door. Before I continue, I want to remind you that if you are working with a chord, right? So let's say if we are working with a C chord, the name of the chord is the root of the chord. So if we're dealing with a C chord, whether it's a C major triad, minor triad, C major 7th, C half diminished 7th chord, all that means is C is the root, right? Now, if it's a regular 3-note chord, C is the root. The next note that we played is called the third, because if you count the number of keys from C to E, right, C, D, E, it's 3 keys. And then to get to the final note, it's called the fifth, because if you count the notes scale-wise, C, D, E, F, G, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keys between the root and the final note. So essentially, you have a 3-note chord that has a root, a third, and the fifth, and the same thing happens with the other notes too. So root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, so on and so forth. Before I get into the different ways that you can play these chords, I do want to bring to your attention that I do have a free 3-step video for complete beginners. If you want to get into how to name the notes, how to sight read, how to understand theory and chords, I have a more expansive video on that. The link is in the description box. You can click that link to sign up for that free video. So back to this, I have also, again, let's just work with the C triad here, or the C chord, the C, E, and G. We've already established that C is the root, E is the third, and G is the fifth, correct? Now, what I'm going to show you is this thing called inversions. And what inversions are is you can take a chord and play different combinations of the same notes that are within that chord. So what does that mean? The way that I've shown you how to play the C chord is where C, which is the root, is at the bottom, E, which is the third, is in the middle, and G, which is the fifth, is at the top. This position is called root position because the root, which is C, is at the bottom, and then the other keys follow. But there are 2 other ways you can play this same exact C chord. So another way that you can play it, right? And you can do the same exact thing for the other chords that I've shown you. You can take the root, which in this case is C, and you can, let's say, bring it up an octave, where C is now up here. So what I have now is E, which is still the third, is now at the bottom. G, which is still the fifth, is in the middle, and C, which is still the root, is now at the top. So I have the same 3 keys, but they're just in a different order. They're now E, G, and C, and what this is what's called first inversion. Another way that I can play this same chord with the same 3 notes is I can take E, or the third in this case, and I can bring that up, and now I have G, which is still the fifth, it is at the bottom. C, which is still the root, is now in the middle, and E, which is still the third, but is now at the top. So now I have G, C, E, which is what's called second inversion. If I were to invert this one more time, where if I bring G up an octave, I'm just now back in root position, where C is at the bottom, E is in the middle, and G is at the top. So again, same 3 notes, root position, C, E, and G. And then if I wanted to play first inversion, I could just bring C up to the top, and now I have E, G, C. Don't mind my fingering, I'm just doing this for demonstrative purposes. And if I wanted to invert it again, I can bring E to the top here. So I can bring E an octave up. And now I have G at the bottom, C in the middle, and E at the top for second inversion. So G, C, E. I can do the exact same thing with any of the other chords. So you can invert 3-note chords, 4-note chords. So let's take one more example. Let's take D, for example. We've already established that in the D chord, D is the root, F is in the middle, or F is the third, and A is the fifth. I can invert this the same exact way. So I can take D, bring it up to the top to make it first inversion, where I now have F at the bottom, A in the middle, D at the top. Or I could also bring F to the top up here, and now I have A at the bottom, D, which is still the root, in the middle, and F at the top. So I can take these 7 chords that I've just shown you, and I can invert each of them or play each of them 3 different ways. Root position, first inversion, and second inversion. And since you made it to the end of the video, I do have my surprise. It should be in one side or the other of the screen. I have a special video that breaks down the fastest way to play pop chords, if that is something that you're into. That way you can take these chords that I've just shown you and actually apply them to pop music. If this video was helpful, please like, comment, and share. Make sure that you subscribe and that you turn on the notifications button when you want to get notified for the next video, which will be in the next few days. So I have that video here, and I also have a playlist which should also show up on the screen if you want more videos, or if you want to check out more videos that are about chords. So thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.